Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
So let's get to it.
Bring the bang!
What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you and Dr. Roto this week. Ooh, yeah. If you haven't been to the site, get to the site. Use code word DOC, and that will get you a percentage off of your subscription so that you can start winning today. You will be our wretch friend. Of course, you can go play DFS. You can get seasonal content. Right now, we have great seasonal baseball content getting out there. All the guys have been getting it done consistently, both on the betting side, the DFS side, seasonal dynasty, best ball. It's all been there. All the questions, all the articles. Of course, as of right now, we have both Chris Kennedy's and Justin Jaska's ratings for this coming football season. So your fantasy football rankings are already up at Dr. Roto. However, July 7th, I think it was what Doc said, Doc's ratings will be up. So you will have Dr. Roto's fantasy football rankings very, very soon. Yeah. It's time to bring the pain to another Heat-tastic review. Ooh, yeah. Hill vs. Roundtree Jr. had another great Fight Club of Pain with Dan again. Definitely nailed some picks. A lot of decisions, though. A lot of decisions. But let's get through it right here. Let's do the rundown. You know the drill, people. You know the drill. But hey, don't forget about those defensive rankings. The IDP rankings are also at Dr. Roto as well, too. Can't wait to get to it. But, man, we started off the night. We got Hamdi Abdul-Wahab, whatever. When you got to roll two names like that together, you hope for the best. Muhammad Usman. Now, I picked Hamdi. Muhammad won. And that was actually kind of cool. But he kind of sucked when he won. I think on the one DFS lineup I had him in, he only scored like 46 points in a win. That's not good. That fight, actually, when I was sitting there watching that fight, I was like, yeah, these guys are just going to be sitting here looking at each other, throwing haymakers and not landing anything. That's practically what happened. All right, so I got that wrong. Second fight of the night, we have Ulanbekov versus Azat Maxim. So I picked Ulanbekov. He didn't get the knockout. Really thought he could have finished him with the sub. Really could have thought that you could have worked that out. It just didn't happen. But hey, that's just life. It just, sometimes the right opportunity doesn't present itself, and you kind of get caught up in kind of like you're just going to do good enough to win. It's kind of like when I know that I'm way better than my opponent at point fighting, I know to scale it back, and I know to just use attacks that will get me points the fastest to get out of that match and get on to my next match, because most likely I'm fighting another 1 or 2 times that day. So, it's almost rare anymore. I fight once for the whole thing, but it does happen. So I'm not gonna say, that I don't. I'll take as many fights as possible, but one fight at a tournament, that's fine for me. We'll be all right. But at the same time, the guys that I usually fought usually don't have the stamina to go long. I mean, some do, some don't. So for me, it's kind of like, what's kind of the setup? Am I going to get that tired guy swinging late and hard at the end because he's already fought once or twice and I've fought once or twice, but I can handle it, but he's a little sloppy? Sloppy's where actually a lot of injuries can happen. And that's why it takes a lot to be a martial artist. So I know I just kind of threw that little martial art, whatever you want to call it, knowledge there. But at the same time, it's the same for anything. It's the same for boxing, wrestling, any combat sport, or any sport in general. You have to look at that it's going to be just like that. Sorry, I had to touch my nose. That just happens. So that being said, we're moving along here. So we got to the next one. We got Irina Alekseeva versus Claudia Segula. Claudia won. Huge. I mean, she wasn't the biggest of dogs, but I mean, you had a plus. It started out as like a plus 200, but that's another one I got lost. And I'm like, come on. Now Melissa Mullins is up. I'm like, okay, Melissa Mullins got to win, right? She just beat the Daria Zelenakova. Let me try that. Zaleznakova. Zaleznakova. I did it. Yay! Woo! All right. Probably still got it wrong. Anyway, she won. Good job. You got me another loss. So I started out the card 1-3. Totally not happy. But we all know next thing happened. We get to Junkyard Park. And what we almost saw another illegal kick used in a bad situation. And the next thing you know, we got this whole thing, his eyes bleeding, that's Park. You know, Ismail didn't mean it. They gave each other hands. But after that, I mean, Park was like, you're not going to be hitting me the rest of the night, the night anyway. So I'm going to wrap you up. He was really close to a sub multiple times. But Junior Park got that win for me, got me back on the right track. But Oban Elliott decided to rail me back off a track because he couldn't be, you know, and I've seen Ko fight before. I should have known better. I've done enough research with Ko. And it should just picked him because Elliott just is reminding me of one of those guys that people just hype up and then he just kind of just falls flat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mean no disrespect to him, but you got beat up, bro. And you got manhandled. And that you're supposed to be a better fighter. You know, it's very rare that I get manhandled or beat up. But even when I'm in the ring that's with somebody that may be better than me, kind of like when I was in with Ming, or anybody else that just could be better than me. How you win in the end is how you win. It's your fight theory. It's how you break your opponent down and on the fly. This is if you can't be a chameleon, ooh, a chameleon, huh? But that's not that. Actually, if you want to go watch Fist of Legend with Jet Li, when his wife's uncle beats him, he goes, "It's because I adapted." And that's what you have to do with fights. You have to adapt. Elliott didn't adapt. That's why I lost. That was the last time I lost the rest of the night. Let's put it that way. So we got Naimov, came in, got Grod. I knew it. That's why I told Dan, I said, I thought Bogdan Grod could survive for DFS. And boy, did he survive. Dude scored more points than Usman. Losing. He scored more points. And man, I got to give it up to my next dude, Nicholas Mata. I only played him in one lineup. I thought he almost had the finish. I almost thought he had Sadikov down. Of course, we got our other finish with Sadikov. And I thought he had him. I seriously thought he had him at the first round when he threw like 30 punches, but I guess none of them hit. It wasn't enough action, wasn't enough deep enough action, enough, I guess, significant strikes. So good job on the ref. You read that perfectly. You allowed that fight to go on so that I could win with Sadikov and get my finish, right? Because when you have a card that doesn't have a lot of finishes like we've seen the past 2 weeks, that kind of just takes, it's not always the fun because some of the finishes were actually kind of good. You know, so like Fazeev, you know, him being able to go, they had the go to distance in the positives. So that was really nice to see. So I was able to take that with Fazeev, a double positive, and make that parlay, and was able to announce that last week on the Fight Club of Pain. I mean, that was a winner. That was just the easiest thing to do. But at the same time, we don't want to do that. We want to see some finishes because the finishes give you a 3,000 or 4,000 odds. It's worth a shot. It's worth throwing money on it and just doing what you got to do. So then we get over to Orolbaj, Ulu, whatever that last part is, but on the sites, they had him as Orolbaj. So that's what I'm going with. He gets the win over Musiev. Again, dude, choke man out. And that's what we need. We needed those finishes. So I'm like, all right, main card's kicking off. Let's go have some fun. Let's see some finishes. Because I was licking my lips with Roundtree coming up. Because I know you knew that I thought that fight would go under. And it didn't. The one fight, and it didn't. And he had knocked him down multiple times. Oh, we'll get to that. All right, let's get back on. Curtis Blades and Cuniv goes the distance. That's fine. Got the Blades pick. Of course, as we talked about, Rafael Fazeev beat Ignacio Bahamundes. And it was a great fight by both. Both scored a lot of points. I mean, that was the fight, like I said, and in my Heat-tastic picks, that was the fight you wanted some action in, or both action in it. Because it was going to go to the distance, and they're both high volume fighters. But one thing I said on the Fight Club that a lot of people didn't, and FanDuel didn't think it was going to happen at all, was that Fiziev was going to take down Bahamundes, and he did it. He got 4+ takedowns, right? His line for +1 was a +200. That's how you make money. If you can't make money off of that, start looking for the other way, the significant strikes, that right there, the takedowns. Takedowns are really easy to nail. And most of the time, you're going to get a takedown. It's going to be a -165. I've seen 115s. So that's that's almost like some of the baseball players that I suggested today that didn't want to play baseball. Well, some of them did. At least you guys got that, right? So that's why I love this fight. And it was great to see Araman not only step up and win in his home country, but also step up and win and get that confidence back, because he's not the 11th ranked fighter for a reason. That's a stacked division. And I mean, we all know, right? So let's get to the main event. We got Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree Jr. Fight was supposed to go under. I mean, even the over was like a +235. So happy I took that bet, because no knockouts bets happened. And that's the thing, is like, if you're just going to play a bet, then just don't even do it. Just go play distance. Go 12 fights, distance all 12. Don't parlay anything yet. Just go distance 12. You got that? Put half a unit, if a quarter of a unit, so that you return some of your money. Return some of that money. So when you get a fight card like this, or last week, even though you only missed twice or 3 times, that's okay. That's okay. You still won those other bets. They're going to cover those 2 losses. And that's what happens. That's kind of like an easy numbers thing. That's kind of like what Ed would probably get at, is where Ed's going to go, well, I'm going to bet all of the dogs, or I'm going to bet all of the favorites. Whereas like in this, we had 3, well, technically 4 favorites lose. And that right there tells you that, and you can't always say, well, the favorite's always going to win. Well, Hamdi was the favorite, right? But he lost. And, Alexieva, she was the favorite, big favorite, lost. She couldn't get a takedown worth shit. Mullins, Daria, lost. And Mullins has beat up half these girls, right? So at the same time, she's beat them all up, and she loses. So it just shows you, from fight to fight, what can happen. I mean, I don't want to see Mullins versus Daria part 3, but we're probably going to get that at some stupid point of life. So, whatever. Just run it back next week or in a month, so you get it out of the way now, Dana, and then we can get to the other good stuff, like John Jones finally retiring, giving Tom Aspinall. That means after this card, I get to look at my top 10. And so as my last top 10 for UFC, I had thought about just giving John Jones the #1 overall spot, and then he's gone off of my rankings forever. Well, I don't know. That's kind of like the thing I think it's disrespectful to completely remove him next week. So I'm still up in the air of how I'm going to write that column. And who gets that spot? If John Jones leaves, who gets that spot, right? So we'll have to see about that. Is it Fiziev? I don't know. Maybe I'll put Gene Silva up there. I know a lot of you people would hate that, but guess what? I wouldn't hate it, but that's because I like Gene Silva. Hey, we all have our people. Khalil Roundtree easily dispatched Hill. Hill just fought lazy. Okay, let's just call it what it is. Hill had an off night. Whatever problem he was having, wherever his head was, it didn't look like it. And at the end of the fight, wondering why he lost that fight. I don't know, boy. Maybe it was somewhere around not being active, not being able to not let Roundtree knock you down. I mean, dude, this was just, he was getting you, bro. And he was also missing on some hits that could have knocked you out. So you should really be happy, Hill, that you just got through this fight with a pretty boy face. You can move on to your next fight date. Perfect. Roundtree can move on. And honestly, you should just take your 4th overall position. But we'll see what the rankings look like after that. So overall, 8-4. Fight-tastic picks did good. Again, lots of decisions. Didn't really get it. But that's why I'm not going to be counting wins and losses with the Five-tastic picks anymore. It's really if I wanted to win, I can win. And I think that the idea of an article is giving you the information and so that you can look at it and make the right decision yourself. And that is the true meaning of any article at Dr. Roto or any article that you want to read. And that's why we keep a lot of our articles really short and sweet at Docs and making sure that, you bring the pain to the competition. Yeah. So let's get to it. Outside of the legal kick, which could have cost me a lot of points because I had parking a lot of points. I was hoping they did not call that, another no contest where we got like 20 points. But FanDuel, I easily scored with around 500 to 530. I had two lineups, put those up. DK at a 413 and a 431 score out pretty well. I had two on DK that didn't score. I had one on FanDuel that scored and one that didn't score. But it was just because of the decisions. Look, that lineup I had, it was decision. And I got Mata. Even if I got Mata, he put out so much input that Mata practically almost outscored more than Usman, and he got knocked out. This is why I said this is one of the hardest. UFC is one of the hardest DFS sports, and one of the easiest and one of the most fun to actually play. At all points, all cylinders go right. I've had 7 finishes. I've had 712 some points on a card. I've also seen where there's only been 2 finishes the whole night, and I've seen 2 finishes and 4 decisions still not take first place. And that's because sometimes when you get those other points from those other fighters and somebody like putting Motto in your lineup and then rolling with my Grod Motto, take 4 of the big winners, which would have been Sadikov. You would have had, Roundtree got a lot of points. Fazeev got a lot of points. And you want to say Sadikov and Ulabekov. Those were practically, some of the top ones right there. You could have just got that. You could have just switched them out. And remember, that's why I said when I wrote up my column for when I did the Five-tastics and I brought up the Mullins fight, I said, man, you might want to play this. So that's, again, why. Because, again, going the distance, getting the action, and even like I said, Mullins was still able to score a lot of points. And it's around 30, 40 points you'll see if it's kind of a slow pace kind of fight. But we need those 87s, those 90s, those 126s. That's what we need. And that's what makes this sport fun. But then, of course, like we saw the illegal kicks last week and the illegal kick this week could really, really take some of your lineups and make them flat. So I'm happy that we continued, that the success we're doing and keeping on track and staying productive in a huge DFS market for the UFC. Yeah. All right. Now, we have, as I said earlier in the thing, we have a lot of seasonal work coming up. Again, Doc's rankings, fantasy football rankings, will be up July 7th. And there's a lot more coming up before that. I've already got my hands on a few articles. I'm going to the Scott Fish Bowl 15 in Buffalo at the Fatty Beer Company. That's a lot. That's going to be just a really fun draft. Get to meet a whole bunch of different people that I've never met. So if you don't know the format, of course, Scott Fish Bowl is a huge charity organization of fantasy football. It's free to get in, but they have teamed with Fantasy Cares, and Fantasy Cares accepts donations, and those donations go to everything like Toys for Tots, breast cancer awareness, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They give out so much. Scott's doing such a great thing. It's great to be part of that and to be a face of that and to try to help them make as much money as possible. So if you haven't donated, if you could please go donate. And if there's a note section, which I don't think there is, I think I just go donate, and that's the way it goes. But if you have a chance to put a note, tell them your boy Heat Overrod said it. Yeah. Woo! All right, but I can't wait. I have the 6th overall pick. And, I'm going with one of my oldest friends of all time, Dave. So, I just go to another city. I just have felt like I better have somebody have my back so that, somebody watching me. And I'm a curious guy. Sometimes people get a little mad. And you never know if you run into a martial artist, because there is a martial arts tournament that day. I should be kicking ass in Buffalo that day, but instead, since my daughter's on vacation right now in the Outer Banks with her friends and Dan Dansky, ooh yeah, right? Y'all don't even know that I decided to take the tournament off, And I know that a lot of the people in this league right now won't have a lot of points to be able to actually catch me up. Someone will get first place if anybody even shows up, and they'll get first place points. But I've already accumulated first place points all year long, which is on road to me being the overall fighting champion for the first year of the MA Tour. Now that'd be a really cool thing. The point thing doesn't really matter though. Like it does, it's great. It's really fun to be part of. Get some trophies, go to the banquet. They're supposed to have a final fight in the end, and then that is going to be the overall fighting champion and as well as the overall point fighting champion. So that's kind of cool. That's really neat. That's, some goals that I can look forward to. But this doesn't put any of that in danger. So, again, go have some fun, have some beers at the Fatty Beer Company, see what they got to show, hang out with my buddy, have a nice ride back, and get ready for more fantasy football drafts because I will have that mock draft. I also signed up for another mock draft. I'll have that article out around the 10th, I think it's supposed to drop, as well as I'll have another article for the 3rd as well, too. I've already got articles. I already went through and I already grabbed some stuff, and that was the best part. Because you got to hurry up, man. But Jason Braddock already went in and grabbed all the team reviews. But that man is badass at reviewing people. So, Jason, it's happy to see you back. I'm happy to see you back. I know Doc mentioned it today on the show. Yep, today on the show. I can't remember if it was today or yesterday. I just listen to Doc all the time. So it all just blurs into one show. But that was a really good shout out. So, again, it is great to have you back and see you grab all those articles. But, man, the Rams. So I went and immediately grabbed the NFC West breakout candidates so I could feel some sort of to give up. But there's still so many more articles to write. It's so much fun being part of Dr. Roto. And the fact is get there and get to read it all. It's behind the paywall. I get it. But you will win your fantasy football championships. We make sure. If you don't, you get second place money, third place money. We will get that for you. The DFS money along the way from the expertise we have coming from Doc and the crew and your boy with the Ultra Contrarian Show is killing it. And man, Dan wants more action, so I'm going to have him on some more podcasts too. So it's great to see him popping up and doing that. That's why going forward with the Fight Club of Pain on Thursday Night Football, we'll be giving out the Thursday Night Football play. Also, of course, you know that at some point I dropped the Heat-tastic review and it becomes the hard hits review when football starts. So don't think that the podcast went anywhere. If you see the difference, it's just the change of the season. I keep baseball Heat-tastic because of the heat in summer, and I keep football all about hard hits. But in the end, Heat-tastic and hits works for the UFC. Yeah! Woo! Also, even though Dan is still on vacation this Thursday, and we have the Dr. Roto annual football meeting after the Fight Club of Pain, and I have my company picnic also that day. So I'm going to try to make sure I get home at a great time to make sure that the Fight Club of Pain is on at 7-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be covering UFC 317. The card is loaded. Dan wouldn't even stop talking last week, which I totally agree. I'm like, all right, we're going to end the episode. Dan's like, nope, we're talking about the card. I'm like, Dan, we're talking about the card. And he goes, nope, we're talking about the card right now. I'm like, all right, Dan, let's talk about the card right now. And that's why I love doing it live. And that's why I love having Dan as a host, because it got me off guard, but I'm down to talk. I'm down, but we will be down to talk and mention bets, DFS lineups for Topuria versus Oliveira and Pantoja versus Car France. I have wanted to see Pantoja fight Car France for so long. It should have been the main event for this fight, but it's not. We got Topuria Oliveira about to get it on for that vacated belt, and I get to see Topuria fight. So this is just going to be a hell of a card. Of course, we got everybody else going on that we talked about. Our boy, let's get to it, right? Also, you have to make sure that you get there and you pay attention. Come football season, I will not be responsible if you don't have a full lineup on the Ultra Contrarian Day because you did not listen on Tuesday to who the Macho Pick of the Week was. So you have to make sure, just like the UFC, the Fight Club of Pain is your first kind of breakthrough. We focus on 4 fights, the Fight-tastic picks focuses on 5 fights. And with that, you will get all of the DFS plays that you need and the bets you need to stay and win some money for football season. That's what we're trying to do. We're winning money for football season and also keeping our hand in the pot for those big paydays that do happen. So that's what I want to bring up is that's what's going on. If you think that you missed the pick, it was probably said on the Fight Club of Pain. And if you think that the Fight Club of Pain didn't bring up something, it's because I purposely put it on my Heat-tastic picks. Yes, you have to consume all of the content if you expect to win. And that because I'm putting in all the work just like everybody else at Dr. Roto. And that's what makes giving to Dr. Roto, opening that door to the office and you becoming our rich friend is all about. If you goes, I'm not feeling Heat Override today. Well, maybe you're feeling Lou Landers. Or maybe you're feeling Danger. Or maybe you're feeling anybody else. That's what we have during football season. It's like I said, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I love to be. Yeah. You didn't see that coming, did you? So I just wanted to catch up with that and make sure that everybody knows what's going on and what's coming forward. And, of course, all season long, I will have your back with the IDP seasonal content. And you can't go for there. You know what's happening. They got all the shows in the world. I'm bringing back a fourth show that will specifically feature Dan. It most likely will be recorded on the weekend because, again, the Fight Club is there. And it's going to be my moniker where we go after teams. Well, maybe Tuesday. We'll figure that out. But believe me, we're going to have you covered for 4 podcasts a week from Bring the Pain come football season. Ooh, yeah. Have a great day, everybody. And always remember to bring the pain. Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. Until the next visit, be well and take care.